Hey YouTube, Ultra Magnum here, and welcome to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Fanstoys Hoodlum. I'm going to break this guy down in terms of the things that I look for in a masterpiece collectible, and I'm going to give it a score out of 10 for each of those areas. Stay tuned to the end to find out the final score. Onto accessories, and to be honest, they're great. Particularly this price point, to get this many accessories I think is good. So the blasters have really nice paint and sculpt and are very much in keeping with the G1 toy original. The additional razor hand, I think some people might be a bit off put by the translucent nature in the middle, but I think that works for me, to be honest. It looks like, even when it's not spinning, it looks like something that's in motion, and you know, the paint finish and detail continues up the arm, so it's good quality stuff. You get an extra face, which is kind of a more harsher looking Rodimus face with the extra lines. Again, you know, good sculpt and paint finish. The Target Master, I'm not a massive fan of these. I don't particularly like them when they're transformed, but certainly in bot mode, I mean, it's got incredible articulation, nice paint finish, good sculpt and detail, all of those things. I think the only downfall overall with the accessories is just pegging them into the hand is quite difficult because of the height of this wrist piece here. These things have not got much in the way of clearance to get in there, so they have a tendency to kind of tilt forward a little bit in the hand. So I'm going to take 1 point off in terms of use of the accessories and give them 9 out of 10. Okay, posability, so the roundhouse test, and I'm sure some of you think I'm daft for trying this on all my figures. However, for me, it just tests out overall the full capabilities of the figure, if you like. Now, he can hold, and that for me is really great. It says something about what the figure can do in terms of the legs, at least, and the weight distribution. But overall, this guy's got a really limited range of movements, and most of it stems from what the arms can and can't do. So you can't move them because of these bits and the clearance at the top. It's a similar thing if you're trying to go side to side. It's just very clunky up there. You can pull these out at the tab, but then it kind of breaks the side sculpt, if you like, of the figure. The head movement is a real issue. There's just no upwards or downwards. There's a slight upwards or downwards, but there's not anything that you could really pose with, which kind of ruins the bit from the movie where he's shooting the Decepticon ship, because he has the gimmick for the face mask, but the figure can't pull it off because of the way that the head moves. So I think that's kind of strange. And just in general, whenever you're moving the top part of the body, all of this loose backpack, you really notice it, and it just kind of highlights what a bit of a clunky mess it is there at the back. In terms of feet, he's got good forwards and backwards, but not much in the way of a rocker, so it just limits it from the bottom to the top, the things that you can do with the figure, which is a shame because he has some real sturdiness around the center, as demonstrated by the roundhouse. So final score on posability, 4 out of 10. In terms of steadiness, happy to report he's good. Like most Fanstoys figures, he's got sturdy construction and good center of gravity. He's got nice ankle support, so he's not going to tilt backwards. You can even tilt the upper body a little bit and he's not going anywhere. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Face sculpt. The face itself looks fantastic. Nice definition and paint application, really good. However, he loses points for me because of the nature of the brow and the way it sticks over the face. It just overshadows the face for me, and this is kind of compounded by the fact that you can't tilt the head up, so it loses points in that respect. Face sculpt, 7 out of 10. The Optimus test. So he does scale nicely in terms of height with Op Leader, but in terms of overall look, he looks a bit out of place, and it's really just down to the cleanup, to be honest, and the weird shoulders. So I'm going to take 2 points off for that. 8 out of 10. In terms of quality, he's a bit of a mixed bag. So the materials are great on the legs, the die cast and this plastic down here, but the thin flappy plastic at the top and on the backpack isn't so good. The paint scheme is nice, good choice of colours, but again the application is very different across the figure. It looks great on the die cast, but some of the maroon colours, particularly at the top and also on the backpack, it just has a shiny kind of cheapness almost to the feel. In terms of the cleanup as well, again, that's different for different parts. The legs look fantastic, but as soon as you get to the top, it just loses it. And the side is awful. This back, gappy bit in the back here, and the back of the legs looks terrible as well. Final score and quality, 5 out of 10. In terms of shelf presence, there are some aspects of the figure that really make it pop. So the quality nature of some of the materials, at least, and the paint scheme. That being said, on a closer inspection, the cleanup, certainly from the top and from the side, is frankly terrible. The limited range in terms of posability means that you're not going to get much out of him. On a passing glance, he will look great against the other movie bots, but overall, there's not that much that's dynamic about the character of the figure itself. So final score and presence, 5 out of 10. So on to engineering and design, and there are great parts of engineering in this figure, no doubt about it. It's a Fanstoys figure, so you kind of get what you expect in that regard. However, once you untap the head and unfold this top section, you realize that there are certain compromises, if you like, that have been prioritized. So in order to preserve a difference between the look of the bonnet in alt mode and the bonnet in bot mode, it's opted to combine two bonnets into one figure. Now, the way that these smooth out necessitates a gap between the two, and then that doesn't leave an awful lot of space between the roof of the alt mode and the back of the alt mode. All of these things have to fold up into this one compartment. So essentially you've got 4 panels, if you like, whereas really you only probably need 3 in order to accommodate the alt mode into bot mode, if that makes sense. So adding those things together and the way that they're added together, it creates problems for the upper torso in bot mode. So I think it loses points in that respect for me. Also, down at the feet, the way that these look in bot mode is absolutely fantastic. So really great. But the way that the wheels fold out from the side creates this extra width and also height that needs to be accommodated in the alt mode, which I'll show in a second. So it's kind of a reverse of the top, where the excellence of the bot mode compromises the alt mode, whereas in this section the excellence of your die-cast and curved smooth bonnet in the alt mode compromises the look of the bot mode. And these are design compromises. So the engineering's good in the sense that it tries to accommodate those compromises, but it's not possible to pull all of that off together and have everything satisfied, as it were. Final score on engineering, 7 out of 10. In terms of transformation, it's fairly intuitive in terms of where you have to go. It's not massively surprising in terms of masterpiece. It's more finicky in terms of lining things up and getting things the right way around. So one area of the transformation that's definitely not fun is the last part of closing this all off and tabbing onto the legs, because you have a combination of moving parts. So the section that the wheels are attached to moves freely inward, so that creates a distortion, if you like, as you're trying to close this off. But also this hole here needs to be free to allow for this tab to peg into, but the wheels are on a the feet here fold up into the leg and they're on a hinge, so as you're pushing things together, this moves forward and it blocks this hole. So that's just one to be wary of. Another thing just to bear in mind once you get to the end point is just to make sure that the maroon section here is tabbed in underneath the grey part of the feet. That's important in order to get this overall back section closed off. So final score for transformation, it starts off okay, and there are some fiddly bits, but they're not too bad at the top. But frankly, the end part of it just takes far too long for what it is. So 6 out of 10. In terms of alt mode, the look is good overall. So the color choice is excellent, I think. You have nice chrome work on the side and on the bonnet. The translucent plastic is really good, nice finish. I think some of the plastic has this kind of waxy look to it, which doesn't feel great in terms of quality to me. That's just a personal thing. He rolls nicely, that's for sure. I think once you turn him up this way, he loses it a little bit. So the front is good, but the back is just high. And this is an engineering thing, which we'll come on to later, trying to accommodate various things. The tail fin's good. I like the color and the way it swoops back, as it were. So overall, alt mode, 7 out of 10. So taking all of those scores together and averaging them out, that comes to 6.9 out of 10. And I think that kind of reflects my overall take on this figure. That seems fair. So he has great points, but he also has really, really not so great points. And it's frustrating, to be honest. It could have been a great figure if he'd have maintained the kind of consistency in terms of the quality in some of the parts of it, but it just doesn't do that. And I think that's reflected all over, really, from the transformation, where there are good bits that are intuitive and fun, but then there are bits that are just really painstaking and not so fun. The quality, where there are parts that, particularly in the legs, that are excellent, but then the top part's just appalling. The engineering is good in places, but then in others it's not so great. So it's just a figure of compromises to me. The biggest thing, though, I think, is probably just the way it doesn't translate into a figure that you can put on the shelf and put into different looks and poses. The head tilt's a big one for that. So yeah, it's not a figure I could recommend heartily if you have a gap in your collection for hot rod. I think this or the Takara are great place fillers, as it were, but I couldn't solidly recommend it as a great Transformers collectible that you must have. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video review. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave comments down below, like and subscribe to my channel, and bye for now.